you not gonna talk to me?
Dude, get wasted and make up with. What if your dad finds out about all the
Not a match for me.
dick? But is he cute? I didn't.
I don't know what's happening to me. It's the There's new wife. From afar, I couldn't see your freckles, but
But you won with the rules, man. So the win is ours.
Because now we've just begun ours. What the fuck are you doing? Our kisses are eternal. Want me to stop?
are you sure you can reason?
You promised that all that was over.
Why do you always make it so hard for me to hate you?
We gotta do something, Will.
My Fault, 2023, kaisi movie Hijo Forbidden Love, Intense Emotions or Risky Decisions Ko-Exath Dikhati Hai, Dushmani Se Sharuhon Wali Kahani Tirhir Obsession or Passion Mind Badal Jadi Hai, Jahan Har Ek Choice Seknai Problem Kadi Kardeti Hai, Is Video Mine Main Aapko My Fault, 2023, Ka Honest Review Dean Wali Hoon. Saith Hai Kuchase Hidden Facts Bishir Karanji Josha Iadapan Miss Kardai Honorable Kaya Movie Surf Hai Pai Fur Wakadikanlak Chlai Isaac Jant Hain Surf Ams Cinema Film Par. My Fault, Spanish title, Culpa Mía, is a Spanish romantic drama film that was released in 2023. The movie is directed by Domingo Gons A Les, and it is his first full-length feature film as a director, making this project an important milestone in his career. With this film, he introduces his storytelling style and brings a popular romantic story to the big screen. The lead roles in the movie are played by Nicole Wallace and Gabriel Guevara. Both actors deliver strong performances and help express the intense emotions, conflicts, and romantic tension that drive the story forward. Their on-screen chemistry plays a key role in making the movie engaging for the audience. The film is based on a well-known Wattpad novel written by Mercedes Ron. The original story gained massive popularity online, especially among young readers who connected deeply with its themes of love, drama, and complicated relationships. Because the novel already had a loyal fan base, the movie attracted a lot of attention even before its release. My Fault explores emotional connections, personal struggles, and romantic challenges, making it appealing to viewers who enjoy passionate and dramatic love stories. 17-year-old Noah Kizindalgi Akangak Badal Jadi Hijabuski mother billionaire William Leicester Se Shadi Carletai Hai, Noah Ek Chandra, Amir Garmine Meh Jadi Hai, Ne Environment. Ne rules luxury life co-accept karna usklai bilkula as unnat ihoda. Sab syad attention use up ne stepbrother Nick Saith Hodi Hai, Joe Street Racing Ka Shakeen Hai Jiska Nature Rebellious Gus Wali Hai. Dono Ki Pehli Malakat Say Hai Unk Beach Clashes Sharu Hojate Hain. Time Saith. Yenafrad Hirt Hero Traction Mind Badlan Lag Di Hai. Dono Ed User Say Dorehisha Hain, Kunk Wajan Hain Kunkarishta Galat Hai. Lekin Furbapni Feelings Co-Control Not Ecarpate. Chuk Milnisha Recorded Hain, Anka Secret Relationship Zyada Intense Hoda Chalajiti High. Isidore Noaki Life My Neck Dark Turn at the Hijab Use Unknown Numbers Say Damki Bear Messages Miln Lag Hain. Bad Mind Ya Shocking Sex Semi at the Hike Noaka Abusive Father John 8 tilde inverted exclamation mark S. Jais Wasab Ko But the Chuki Thik Marchuka High. Esel mine jail say release ho chuka hai badlil dinklai wabaz agaya hai. John A tilde inverted exclamation mark S Noako kidnap car leti hai ransom key demand karta hai. Noako back hang klinik police ksaith mil karuski talash shara karta hai. Yeser check dangerous car chase par ya car katam hodi hai. Jahan John A tilde inverted exclamation mark S marjida hai. Agar mine. Shay Unka Secret Relationships Sabk Sam A Ajidahai Parents is Rish Say Gush Not Ehot, Furba Nika No Asariskspawajud Ekduzrak Say Threhan Kafes Lakar Laid Hain. The Story of My Fault, original title, Culpa Mía, released in 2023 on Amazon Prime Video, centers on 17-year-old Noah, played by Nicole Wallace, who is uprooted from her familiar life when her mother, Rafaela Marta Hassas, marries the wealthy businessman William Leicester. If a tilde inverted exclamation mark in s a tilde inverted exclamation mark nkaz, forced to leave behind her hometown, her boyfriend, and her friends, Noa moves into William's opulent mansion on the Spanish Costa del Sol. From the moment she arrives, tension brews as she encounters her new stepbrother, Nick, Gabriel Guevara, a brooding, charismatic young man with a dangerous edge. Their initial interactions are marked by hostility and Noa views Nick as arrogant and privileged, while he sees her as an intrusive outsider disrupting his world. As Noa struggles to adapt to this lavish but alien environment, surrounded by luxury she resents, the clash of personalities between her and Nick becomes the film's driving force. She is portrayed as proud, independent, and resistant to the superficiality of high society, often clashing with the expectations placed upon her in this new family dynamic. Nick, on the other hand, maintains a polished facade for his father but harbors a rebellious streak, engaging in underground street racing and illegal fights as outlets for his inner turmoil. This duality in Nick's character, outwardly confident and controlling, inwardly scarred by past family issues, creates an immediate intrigue. Their banter starts sharp and antagonistic, filled with sarcastic exchanges that hint at underlying attraction, a classic enemies to lovers trope that propels the narrative forward. The film's plot unfolds through a series of escalating encounters that draw Noa deeper into Nick's secretive life. Early scenes establish Noa's discomfort in the mansion, where she feels like an intruder amid the staff and opulence. A pivotal moment occurs when Noa, seeking to prove herself or perhaps rebel against her constrained new reality, gets involved in one of Nick's street races. She demonstrates unexpected skill behind the wheel, surprising Nick and earning a grudging respect from him. This sequence not only showcases the film's high-octane action elements, borrowing from franchises like Fast Furious, but also marks the beginning of their shifting dynamic. What starts as mutual disdain evolves into charged moments of proximity, stolen glances, accidental touches, and heated arguments that mask growing desire. Noa's character is fleshed out through her backstory of feeling abandoned by her mother's focus on the new marriage, leading to acts of teenage rebellion. She initially clings to her old life, communicating with her ex-boyfriend and friends, but as threats from her past emerge in the form of anonymous messages warning her she'll pay for what she's done, she is forced to confront unresolved trauma. These messages tie into a subplot involving Jonas, a figure from Noa's history with a grudge, adding layers of mystery and danger. Meanwhile, Nick's involvement in underground fighting rings reveals his own vulnerabilities. He uses physical aggression to cope with emotional pain stemming from his family's complexities, particularly his strained relationship with his father. The chemistry between Wallace and Guevara is frequently highlighted as one of the film's strongest assets. Wallace, known previously for her role in the Spanish series Scamispa +A, brings a fiery independence to Noa, portraying her as someone who refuses to be tamed easily. Guevara, also from Scamispa +A, embodies Nick with a mix of intensity and vulnerability, his physical presence dominating scenes while subtle expressions convey inner conflict. Their performances elevate the predictable script, making the forbidden aspect of their romance compelling despite its controversial nature. The step-sibling relationship introduces taboo elements that the film handles with teasing build-up. Multiple near kisses and interruptions heighten the tension before their feelings erupt into passionate secret encounters. Supporting characters add texture to the central romance. Rafaela, Noa's mother, is depicted as well-intentioned but oblivious to her daughter's struggles, prioritizing her new life with William. William himself represents the archetype of the distant, successful patriarch, unaware of his son's double life. Friends like Lian and Jenna provide comic relief and opportunities for social scenes, such as parties where Noa and Nick's attraction becomes harder to hide. Mario, a kind-hearted acquaintance, briefly introduces a potential love triangle, offering Noa a safer alternative to Nick's volatility. But the film quickly dismisses this in favor of intensifying the main pair's bond. As the story progresses, subplots intertwine with the romance. Nick introduces Noa to his world of adrenaline-fueled risks, including high-stakes races and fights, blending romantic drama with action thriller elements. These sequences are visually dynamic, shot against the stunning backdrops of the Costa del Sol locations like Torremolinos, Manilva, and Marbella. Linda glamorous, sun-soaked aesthetic that contrasts with the character's emotional turmoil. The cinematography captures vibrant parties, beach scenes, and nighttime chases, enhancing the escapist appeal. The soundtrack, featuring tracks like the remix of Tarota by Mark Sagwa, underscores emotional highs and lows, amplifying romantic and tense moments alike. Themes of forbidden love dominate, exploring how societal and familial boundaries fuel desire rather than suppress it. The film delves into teenage rebellion against parental control, with Noah and Nick defying their parents' authority in pursuit of autonomy. Family dynamics are scrutinized through the blended household, highlighting issues of blending lives, jealousy, and unspoken resentments. Wealth and privilege form a backdrop, contrasting Noah's more modest origins with the Leicester's extravagance, critiquing superficiality while indulging in its allure. Past traumas influence present actions. Noah's mysterious threats and Nick's aggressive outlets suggest cycles of pain that love might break or exacerbate. A turning point comes when Noah learns of her ex-boyfriend's betrayal with her best friend, deepening her emotional vulnerability and pushing her closer to Nick. He becomes protective, using his connections to shield her, leading to more intimate confessions. Their secret relationship intensifies, filled with stolen moments in the mansion or during outings, but the risk of discovery looms. The film builds to over-the-top climaxes, including a gala event where jealousies flare and a high-speed chase resolving the threat from Jonas. Nick collaborates with authorities in a redemption arc, culminating in a confrontation that eliminates the danger but exposes their romance to their parents. Despite disapproval from Rafaela and William, who view the relationship as inappropriate, Noah and Nick choose to stay together, affirming the power of their bond over external judgments. This resolution ties into the film's exploration of love as redemptive, suggesting that true connection can overcome trauma, rebellion, and taboo. Side elements like underground gambling and rivalries add thrills, though sometimes straining believability with abrupt tone shifts from steamy romance to action spectacle. The adaptation from Mercedes Ron's Wattpad story, later expanded into a trilogy, retains the source material's soapy, addictive quality. Director Domingo Gonz Les, in his feature debut, balances melodrama with visual flair, drawing comparisons to films like After, Through My Window, and even echoes of Cruel Intentions in its manipulative undertones. Production by Poughkeepsie Films, associated with Lex de la Iglesia and Carolina Bang, brings a polished yet indulgent style. The script incorporates cheesy dialogue and cliché copyrights lines like Nick probing Noah's knowledge of cars and beatings met with confident retorts, but the lead's charisma sells them. Critically, the film polarizes, praised for its escapist entertainment, lead chemistry, and vibrant energy, yet faulted for unrealistic plots, pacing issues, and exaggerated characters. Some view it as a guilty pleasure, ideal for relaxed viewing, while others decry its cringeworthy moments and moral ambiguities around the central relationship. Its massive success on Prime Video, becoming the platform's most watched non-English film in 2023, spawned sequels Your Fault, 2024, and Our Fault, 2025, plus an English remake My Fault, London, 2025. Character arcs emphasize growth through love. Noah gains confidence, shedding resentment toward her new life, while Nick softens his hardened exterior, finding emotional outlet beyond violence. Their journey from hate to passion underscores the thin line between conflict and attraction, a staple of young adult romance. Subtle nods to broader issues, like the pressures of wealth or lingering effects of broken homes, add depth without overwhelming the primary focus on desire and defiance. Filming details reveal a focus on authentic Spanish settings, enhancing the sun-drenched, hedonistic vibe. The cast's prior collaboration in Scamispa A+A contributes to natural group dynamics among younger characters. Technical aspects, including color grading and sound design, heightened sensuality in romantic scenes and adrenaline in action ones. Trivia points, such as shared previous roles among Wallace, Guevara, and supporting actors, highlight casting synergy. Reception reflects generational appeal, resonating with Gen Z audiences drawn to Wattpad origins and social media buzz. Debates over the taboo romance persist, with some embracing its fantasy escapism and others questioning its implications. Nonetheless, the film's blend of romance, drama, and thrills cements its status as a streaming phenomenon. The narrative's pacing accelerates in the latter half, packing revelations, chases, and emotional confrontations. Noah's abduction threat escalates stakes, forcing Nick into heroic mode. The ending chase, blending police involvement and personal vendetta, delivers cathartic resolution, though its execution veers into campy territory. Overall, My Fault thrives on its lead's magnetic pull, scenic allure, and unapologetic indulgence in tropes. It captures the intensity of first forbidden love, amplified by privilege in peril, creating an addictive, if flawed, viewing experience that prioritizes emotion over subtlety. My Fault, 2023 film, production to reception, production development and pre-production. My Fault, released under its original Spanish title Culpa Mía, emerged from one of the most unexpected sources in modern cinema, the Wattpad platform, a digital writing community where amateur and aspiring writers share their stories with millions of readers worldwide. The film's source material was written by Mercedes Ron, an Argentine author whose romantic novel gained tremendous popularity on the platform, accumulating millions of reads and establishing a dedicated fan base long before any film adaptation was considered. The success of Ron's work on Wattpad created a phenomenon that caught the attention of Spanish production companies looking for commercially viable properties with built-in audiences. The development of My Fault represented a strategic move by Poughkeepsie Films, the production company founded by renowned Spanish filmmaker Lex de la Iglesia and producer Carolina Bang. Known for their work on distinctive Spanish cinema, de la Iglesia and Bang had established themselves as producers willing to take creative risks while maintaining commercial sensibility. Their decision to adapt Ron's Wattpad story reflected a broader trend in the entertainment industry of mining digital platforms for content that had already proven its appeal to contemporary audiences, particularly younger demographics who consume stories primarily through mobile devices and streaming platforms. The project marked a significant milestone as it would be the feature-length directorial debut of Domingo Gonz Les. Gonz Les had previously worked in Spanish television and shorter format productions, but My Fault represented his first opportunity to helm a theatrical feature. The choice of Gonz Les as director indicated the producer's desire to bring fresh perspective to the material while maintaining the passionate, youthful energy that had made the original story so popular among its readership. Gonz Les's vision for the film needed to balance the expectations of existing fans who had specific ideas about how the characters and story should be portrayed, while also making the material accessible to viewers unfamiliar with the source material. The pre-production phase involved extensive work on adapting Ron's novel for the screen. The screenplay development process required condensing the sprawling narrative of the original Wattpad story into a manageable feature film runtime while preserving the core elements that made the story appealing: the forbidden romance, the family dynamics, the underground racing culture, and the darker themes of abuse and trauma. The writers faced the challenge of translating a story that had been written episodically for digital consumption into a cohesive cinematic narrative with proper dramatic structure and pacing. Casting became one of the most critical aspects of pre-production. The roles of Noah and Nick required performers who could convincingly portray the intense chemistry and complicated emotional dynamics between the step-siblings at the heart of the story. The production ultimately selected Nicole Wallace for the role of Noah Morgan and Gabriel Guevara as Nick Leister. Both actors brought youthful energy and the requisite screen presence to embody characters that millions of readers had already visualized in their minds. The casting of supporting roles, including Marta Hazes as Rafaela, Noah's mother, and Ines as William Leister, Nick's father and Rafaela's new husband, added experienced performers to help anchor the narrative's family dynamics. The production team also included executive producers Lex de la Iglesia, Carolina Bang, Mara Contreras, and Racely P. Copywriter Rastrilla. who brought their collective expertise to the project. Amazon Studios came on board as a co-production partner, signaling their interest in developing original Spanish-language content for their Prime Video streaming platform. This partnership with Amazon provided the production with the resources necessary to realize Gon's !L's vision while ensuring the film would have guaranteed distribution to a global audience through the streaming service. Pre-production planning also involved extensive location scouting throughout Spain's Costa del Sol region, known for its stunning coastal landscapes, luxury properties, and vibrant nightlife, all essential elements for bringing Ron's story to life. The production design team worked to create the opulent world of the Leicester Mansion, which serves as the primary setting for much of the film's action, as well as identifying suitable locations for the street racing sequences and other key scenes. The visual aesthetic needed to convey both the glamorous lifestyle of the wealthy characters and the grittier underground world that Nick inhabits. Filming principal photography for My Fault took place entirely within Spain, with the production utilizing multiple locations across the Costa del Sol region in the southern part of the country. This area, stretching along Spain's Mediterranean coast, provided the perfect backdrop for the story's setting, a world of wealth, beauty, and hidden darkness. The choice of Costa del Sol was not arbitrary. The region's distinctive architecture, pristine beaches, and luxurious estates perfectly matched the visual aesthetic required for the Leicester family's affluent lifestyle while also offering diverse locations for the film's various settings. The primary filming locations included the cities and towns of Torremolinos, Manilva, and Marbella, each offering unique characteristics that served the production's needs. Torremolinos, located near Laga, is known for its beaches and tourist infrastructure. The production utilized the Blamar Beach in Torremolinos for several key scenes, taking advantage of the area's natural beauty and the dramatic coastal vistas that characterize much of the Costa del Sol. These beach locations served multiple narrative purposes, providing settings for romantic encounters between the protagonists as well as establishing the privileged coastal lifestyle that Noah must adapt to upon moving into the Leicester Mansion. Marbella, one of the most prestigious and wealthy areas of the Costa del Sol, offer locations that perfectly embodied the affluent world of the Leicester family. The production filmed at various beaches in Marbella, including Cabo Pinoa Nueva and Agar, as well as La Gaviota Beach in the nearby town of Manilva. These locations provided the sun-drenched, luxurious atmosphere essential to the story's setting. The area's concentration of high-end properties and estates likely served as inspiration for exterior shots of the Leicester Mansion, though specific details about the exact property used for the family home have not been widely publicized. One of the most memorable and technically challenging sequences in the film, the climactic car chase involving boats and vehicles, was filmed at Puerto de la Juquesa, a marina and residential area in Manilva near Gibraltar. This location provided the production with the necessary infrastructure to stage complex action sequences involving multiple vehicles and watercraft. The port's layout, with its combination of water channels, docks, and surrounding streets, allowed the filmmakers to create dynamic chase sequences that serve as the film's action-packed conclusion. The choice of this location demonstrated the production's commitment to practical action sequences rather than relying entirely on visual effects, lending authenticity to the film's more thriller-oriented moments. The filming process required coordination between multiple departments to realize Gon's !L's vision for the material. The cinematography team, led by director of photography and supported by camera operators including Fernando Mole and crew members like Gonzalo Fern Marquez de la Vega, Gaffer, and Victor Garitz Ruiz, Key Grip, worked to capture both the intimate emotional moments between characters and the larger-scale action sequences. The visual approach needed to shift between the glossy, sun-soaked aesthetic of the wealthy Costa del Sol setting and the grittier, more dangerous atmosphere of the underground racing and fighting scenes that reveal Nick's secret life. The action sequences, particularly those involving street racing and underground fights, presented specific challenges for the production. These scenes required careful choreography and safety protocols while maintaining the visceral energy that made them exciting for audiences. The racing sequences drew inspiration from popular franchises like The Fast and the Furious, requiring the coordination of stunt drivers, multiple cameras, and proper safety measures to capture high-speed vehicle action. Similarly, the fight scenes demanded choreography that appeared brutal and realistic while ensuring the safety of performers and stunt coordinators. Working with the young cast presented its own considerations. Wallace and Guevara needed to navigate the challenging emotional terrain of their characters' relationship, including intimate scenes that required sensitivity and professionalism from everyone involved. The chemistry between the leads was essential to the film's success, and Gon's has worked closely with both actors to ensure their performances captured the conflicted nature of Noah and Nick's attraction despite their familial connection. The production environment needed to be one where the actors felt comfortable exploring the psychological complexity of their roles while maintaining appropriate boundaries during the filming of more sensitive material. The Spanish summer provided ideal weather conditions for filming the many outdoor scenes that characterize the movie. The abundant sunshine and clear skies of the Costa del Sol created the bright, vibrant visual aesthetic that defines much of the film's look. However, this also meant managing challenges related to filming in high heat and intense sunlight, requiring careful scheduling and planning to take advantage of optimal lighting conditions while protecting cast and crew from excessive heat exposure. The production timeline moved efficiently through the various locations, with Gon's and his team working to capture all necessary footage within the scheduled production period. The collaborative nature of the filmmaking process meant that various departments from costume design to production design to sound recording all worked in coordination to ensure that each scene met the creative vision while adhering to practical constraints of time and budget. Post-production. Following the completion of principal photography, My Fault entered the post-production phase, where the raw footage captured on location would be transformed into the finished film that would eventually stream on Prime Video. Post-production for any contemporary film involves multiple complex processes, and My Fault required extensive work to polish the final product, integrate visual effects, complete the sound design, and finalize the musical score. The editing process was crucial in shaping the narrative flow and pacing of the film. With a runtime of 117 minutes, 1 hour and 57 minutes, the editorial team needed to balance multiple storylines and tonal shifts of the romantic drama between Noah and Nick, the family dynamics as Noah adjusts to her new life, the revelation of Nick's involvement in illegal activities, and the eventual thriller elements as Noah's dangerous father emerges as a threat. The editing needed to maintain momentum while allowing character development and emotional beats to land effectively with audiences. One of the challenges in post-production involved maintaining tonal consistency despite the film's genre-blending nature. My Fault incorporates elements of teen romance, family drama, action thriller, and even touches of melodrama. The editorial choices needed to ensure these various elements complemented rather than clashed with each other, creating smooth transitions between romantic scenes, action sequences, and more dramatic moments. The pacing required particular attention to maintain audience engagement throughout the nearly 2-hour runtime. Visual effects work, while not as extensive as in big-budget action blockbusters, still played a role in enhancing certain sequences. The car chase and racing scenes likely required some degree of visual enhancement, whether through compositing to ensure safety during filming, enhancement of vehicle speeds and impacts, or refinement of practical effects. Any scenes requiring digital enhancement or cleanup would have been addressed during this phase, ensuring that all visual elements maintain consistent quality throughout the film. Color grading and digital intermediate work played a significant role in establishing the film's distinctive visual aesthetic. The bright, sun-drenched look of the Costa del Sol scenes required careful color work to achieve the proper saturation and tone. The grading needed to enhance the glamorous, magazine-worthy quality of the wealthy setting while also supporting the darker, more intense moments. Different color palettes might have been applied to different types of scene as a warmer, brighter tones for the romantic and family moments versus cooler, more dramatic rating for the thriller elements and action sequences. Sound design and mixing represented another crucial aspect of post-production. Beyond capturing clean dialogue during filming, the sound team needed to create an immersive audio environment that enhanced the viewing experience. This included designing and implementing sound effects for the racing sequences, ensuring that engines, tire squeals, and impacts all felt visceral and exciting. The fight scenes required impactful sound design to convey the brutality of the underground fighting world. Environmental sounds needed to be added or enhanced to create realistic acoustic spaces, from the echo of the Leicester Mansion's large rooms to the ambient sounds of beaches and outdoor locations. The dialogue editing and automated dialogue replacement, ADR, process ensured that all spoken lines were clear and intelligible throughout the film. Any dialogue that was unclear or compromised during production filming would have been re-recorded in a studio environment during ADR sessions, with actors matching their performances to the on-screen footage. This process is particularly important for a film that was produced in Spanish for an international audience, as clarity of dialogue affects both the direct viewing experience and the quality of any subtitled versions for non-Spanish speaking audiences. Music. The musical component of My Fault represents a crucial element in creating the film's emotional landscape and establishing its contemporary, youthful appeal. The film's music divides into two main categories: the original score composed specifically for the film and the carefully curated selection of popular songs that appear throughout the movie. The original score for My Fault was composed by Federico Jussed, an acclaimed Argentine composer based between Madrid and Los Angeles. Jussed brought significant credentials to the project, having previously composed music for the Academy Award-winning film The Secret in Their Eyes and the critically acclaimed series The English starring Emily Blunt, for which he received a BAFTA nomination for Best Original Music in 2023. His work has earned numerous international awards and nominations, making him one of the most respected composers working in Spanish and international cinema. Jussed's approach to scoring My Fault needed to support the film's multiple emotional registers. The score required romantic themes for Noah and Nick's developing relationship, tension-building music for the thriller elements, energetic compositions for the action sequences, and emotional depth for the more dramatic family moments and the revelation of Noah's traumatic past. The composer's experience in creating emotionally nuanced scores that enhance rather than overwhelm the dramatic action served the film well, providing a musical foundation that supported Gon's Les's directorial vision. The score needed to feel contemporary and accessible to the film's target young adult audience while maintaining cinematic sophistication. Jussed's compositions incorporated modern production techniques and instrumentation while drawing on traditional film scoring approaches to create themes and motifs that could recur throughout the film, providing musical continuity and supporting the emotional arc of the story. The main theme likely focused on capturing the passionate but conflicted nature of Noah and Nick's relationship, serving as a musical representation of their forbidden attraction. Complementing Jussed's original score, the film features an extensive selection of popular music tracks that help establish the contemporary setting and appeal to the target demographic. Music supervisor Shervin Hejazi and Alison Monicourt curated a soundtrack that includes prominent Spanish and international artists, creating a musical landscape that feels authentic to the character's world. The song selections serve multiple purposes: establishing mood, representing character perspectives, and connecting with audiences through familiar contemporary music. The soundtrack includes tracks from major international artists such as Rosalía, whose song La Come Versace, featuring Tokiska, appears early in the film as William welcomes Noah to his mansion, immediately establishing the film's connection to current Spanish pop culture. Rosalía's inclusion was particularly significant given her status as one of the most successful Spanish artists in international music. Other recognizable artists featured in the film include Cigarettes After Sex, whose atmospheric indie rock sound suits the film's romantic elements, and various other contemporary pop, hip-hop, and electronic artists whose music appears throughout. The music supervision process involved selecting songs that would resonate emotionally with specific scenes while also appealing to the film's target audience. The choice is needed to feel organic to the character's world, a music that teenagers like Noah and young adults like Nick would realistically listen to in their daily lives. This authenticity in music selection helps ground the somewhat heightened dramatic circumstances in relatable contemporary culture. The opening sequence features Me Quiero by Uslan, accompanying Noah as she packs her belongings and prepares to leave her old life behind, immediately establishing her reluctance and the emotional stakes of the move. Throughout the film, music marks transitions, establishes location and atmosphere, and provides emotional punctuation for key moments. The racing scenes incorporate high-energy tracks that enhance the adrenaline and excitement of those sequences, while more intimate moments between characters are supported by music that emphasizes vulnerability and desire. The integration of music into the final mix required careful balance between the original score, the popular songs, sound effects, and dialogue. The music needed to be present enough to create emotional impact and atmosphere without overwhelming other audio elements or making dialogue difficult to understand. This balance is particularly important in a streaming film where viewers might be watching on various devices with different audio capabilities. The complete soundtrack became available through various music streaming platforms, allowing fans of the film to revisit their favorite musical moments. The availability of the soundtrack album extended the film's reach beyond the viewing experience, enabling listeners to engage with the film's music independently and potentially attracting new viewers who discovered the film through its music. Juzin would go on to compose the scores for the subsequent films in the trilogy, Your Fault, Culpa Mía, and Our Fault, Culpa Nuestra, maintaining musical continuity across the series and further developing the themes introduced in My Fault. This continuity helps tie the three films together as a cohesive trilogy while allowing the music to evolve along with the characters and story. Released theatrical, My Fault took an unconventional path to audiences by bypassing traditional theatrical distribution entirely in favor of a direct-to-streaming release model. Unlike films that premiere in cinemas before eventually becoming available on streaming platforms, My Fault was conceived and produced as an Amazon Prime Video original, designed specifically for the streaming platform from its inception. This decision reflected broader industry trends accelerating in the 2020s, where major streaming services increasingly produce original feature films as exclusive content for their platforms rather than theatrical releases. The strategic choice to release My Fault directly on Prime Video rather than pursuing theatrical distribution aligned with Amazon's broader content strategy and the specific nature of the film itself. As an adaptation of a Wattpad story with a built-in young adult audience that predominantly consumes content through digital platforms, a streaming release made logical sense. The target demographic for My Fault are primarily teenagers and young adults. It represents the core streaming audience, comfortable with discovering and watching films on their devices rather than necessarily seeking out theatrical experiences. Amazon Prime Video's investment in original international content, particularly Spanish-language productions, had been growing steadily as the platform sought to compete with Netflix's dominance in non-English language streaming content. My Fault represented a strategic bet on youth-oriented romantic drama, a genre that had proven successful for competing platforms. The story's existing fanbase from its Wattpad origins provided a level of guaranteed interest that made it an attractive property for Amazon's streaming service. The decision to forego theatrical release also reflected practical considerations. The film's budget level, while sufficient for producing a quality streaming film with production values that would satisfy audiences watching on television or device screens, might not have justified the substantial marketing and distribution costs associated with a theatrical release. Additionally, theatrical distribution in Spain and other international markets would have required navigating complex distribution deals, theatrical availability, and marketing campaigns that would have delayed the film's availability to its target audience. The direct-to-streaming approach allowed Amazon to control the release timing and marketing strategy completely. This release strategy also meant that traditional box office revenue was not a factor in determining the film's commercial success. Instead, the metrics that would matter were viewership numbers, subscriber engagement, and whether the film succeeded in attracting new subscribers to Prime Video or retaining existing ones. For Amazon, The value of original content extends beyond direct revenue to the broader ecosystem of keeping subscribers engaged with the platform and making Prime membership more attractive to potential new customers. The lack of theatrical release did mean that My Fault would not receive the kind of traditional film review coverage and critical attention that theatrical releases typically generate. Film critics primarily focus on theatrical releases, and streaming exclusive films often receive less comprehensive critical evaluation. This would prove significant for My Fault's critical reception, though it ultimately had little impact on the film's popular success with its intended audience. Home media. The home media release strategy for My Fault was straightforward, given its streaming exclusive nature. The film made its premiere on Amazon Prime Video on June 8, 2023. Simultaneously becoming available to Prime subscribers in over 240 countries and territories worldwide. This global launch represented a key advantage of the streaming model, the ability to release content internationally all at once rather than staggering releases across different territories as theatrical distribution typically requires. For Amazon Prime subscribers, accessing My Fault required no additional payment beyond their existing subscription fee. This immediate availability to Prime's substantial subscriber base gave the film instant potential reach to millions of viewers globally. The film appeared in Prime Video's interface with promotional placement to ensure subscribers were aware of the new release, with Amazon's recommendation algorithms subsequently promoting the film to users whose viewing habits suggested they might enjoy this type of content. The release date of June 8, 2023. Was strategically chosen to capitalize on early summer viewing when audiences, particularly younger viewers who were approaching or beginning summer vacation, would have more time for entertainment consumption. The timing also avoided major competing releases that might have overshadowed the film's launch. Amazon supported the release with digital marketing campaigns across social media platforms popular with the target demographic, including Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, where content from the film could be shared and discovered by potential viewers. The streaming platform release meant that physical home media versions of DVD or Blu-ray releases were not part of the initial distribution strategy. Unlike theatrical releases that typically progress through various release windows, theatrical, premium VOD, standard home video, subscription streaming, My Fault went directly to its final distribution form. The question of whether physical media versions might eventually be produced remained open, though the trend in the industry increasingly favors streaming-only distribution for such content. One advantage of the streaming release was that the film remained accessible on Prime Video indefinitely, as long as Amazon chose to keep it in their catalog. Unlike traditional rental or purchase models where consumers must actively seek out and pay for the content, this persistent availability meant that My Fault could find audiences over an extended period through word-of-mouth recommendations, social media discussion, and algorithmic promotion rather than relying solely on launch week interest. The film's availability across Amazon's various Prime Video applications meant viewers could watch on smart TVs, streaming devices, gaming consoles, mobile phones, tablets, and computers, essentially any device capable of running the Prime Video app. This multi-device accessibility catered to contemporary viewing habits, particularly among younger audiences who might be as likely to watch on a mobile device as on a television screen. Amazon's platform also supported features like multiple audio tracks and subtitle options, allowing the Spanish-language film to reach non-Spanish speaking audiences through subtitles while also offering dubbed versions in various languages for markets where dubbing is preferred. This multilingual support expanded the film's potential audience significantly beyond Spanish speakers alone. The streaming model also provided Amazon with detailed viewership data, allowing them to track exactly how many subscribers watched the film, how long they watched, completion rates, and other metrics that would inform both the marketing of My Fault and decisions about potential sequels or similar content. This data-driven approach to understanding audience response gave Amazon insights impossible to obtain from traditional theatrical distribution. Reception. Box office. The question of box office performance does not apply to My Fault in the traditional sense, as the film bypassed theatrical distribution entirely in favor of exclusive streaming release on Amazon Prime Video. Unlike films released in cinemas where success can be measured through ticket sales and box office grosses reported in dollars, My Fault's commercial performance must be evaluated through the lens of streaming viewership and subscriber engagement. However, the absence of box office figures does not mean the film lacked commercial success. On the contrary, My Fault achieved remarkable performance in the streaming environment, though measuring and quantifying that success presents different challenges than traditional box office analysis. Amazon Prime Video does not publicly release comprehensive viewership data for their original content, making it difficult to provide exact viewer numbers comparable to theatrical box office grosses. Instead, the platform occasionally releases selective information about particularly successful titles. What Amazon did reveal about My Fault's performance was extraordinary. According to the streaming service, the film achieved the best opening 3-day viewership figures for any non-English language local original in Prime Video's history up to that point. This represented a significant milestone, indicating that My Fault had successfully attracted substantial audience interest immediately upon release. For context, Prime Video operates in over 240 countries and territories with more than 200 million subscribers worldwide, meaning even a small percentage of the subscriber base represents millions of viewers. The film's performance did not stop with its opening weekend. My Fault became Amazon Prime Video's most popular film worldwide throughout 2023. Maintaining strong viewership over an extended period rather than experiencing the typical decline after launch week. This sustained performance indicated that the film successfully generated word-of-mouth recommendations and continued to attract new viewers months after its initial release. The film's popularity on social media platforms, particularly TikTok and Instagram where fans shared clips and discussed the story, contributed to this ongoing discovery. The success continued into 2024, with My Fault remaining in Prime Video's top 5 most watched films for the year and finishing as the number 4 most popular movie on the platform for 2024. This remarkable longevity demonstrated the film's ability to continue finding audiences more than a year after its original release. Such sustained performance over multiple of years is rare for any film and represents extraordinary commercial success in the streaming environment. The commercial success of My Fault directly led to Amazon Prime Video greenlighting 2 sequels to complete Mercedes Ron's book trilogy. Your Fault, Culpa Mía, was released in December 2024, and Our Fault, Culpa Nuestra, followed in October 2025. Additionally, an English-language remake titled My Fault, London premiered in February 2025, with its own sequels already commissioned. This expansion into a multi-film franchise and international remakes represents one of the clearest indicators of commercial success as streaming services only invest in sequels and remakes for properties that have proven their ability to attract and retain audiences. While exact viewership numbers remain undisclosed, industry analysts and media reports indicated that My Fault was viewed by tens of millions of subscribers globally. The film's success was particularly strong in Spanish-speaking markets, but it also found substantial audiences in other regions through subtitles and dubbed versions. The international appeal demonstrated that stories with universal themes as forbidden love, family conflict, coming of age could transcend linguistic and cultural boundaries when properly presented. The streaming success model differs from theatrical box office in important ways. Rather than measuring success through a single metric of ticket revenue, streaming success encompasses multiple factors including total views, average viewing time, completion rates, subscriber acquisition influenced by the content, and subscriber retention. Amazon likely saw positive indicators across all these metrics, justifying their continued investment in the franchise and similar content. The commercial impact extended beyond direct viewership. My Fault generated substantial social media engagement, trending on platforms like Twitter and TikTok during its release period and maintaining ongoing discussion. This organic social media presence provided valuable marketing for Amazon Prime Video itself, essentially turning viewers into unpaid promoters of the platform and its content. Critical response. The critical reception of My Fault presents a stark divide between professional film critics and general audiences, representing one of the most dramatic examples of critical versus popular taste divergence in recent streaming film history. This disconnect reveals important dynamics about contemporary film criticism, audience preferences, and the specific challenges faced by films adapted from digital fiction platforms like Wattpad. Professional film critics overwhelmingly responded negatively to My Fault. On Rotten Tomatoes, the standard aggregator of critical reviews, the film received an astonishing 0% tomatometer score from critics. This rare rating indicates that not a single professional critic who reviewed the film recommended it. Such unanimous negative critical response is uncommon and typically reserved for films considered truly without redeeming qualities from a critical perspective. The critical consensus highlighted numerous concerns about the film's quality, craft, and content. John Serb of Decider.com delivered one of the harshest assessments, calling My Fault an atrocious movie with characters that were insipid and rudimentary. His review emphasized what many critics saw as fundamental problems with the screenplay and characterization, arguing that the protagonists lacked depth and complexity, instead functioning as simplistic archetypes serving a melodramatic plot rather than feeling like genuine human beings with believable psychology and motivation. Lucas Hill Paul of the Daily Express offered a somewhat more measured but still negative assessment, rating the film 2 out of 5 stars. His review acknowledged the film's trashy qualities while noting that it at least demonstrated some self-awareness and featured 2 likable leads in Wallace and Guevara. This review captured a common critical perspective that while My Fault committed numerous artistic sins, it occasionally showed glimpses of understanding its own nature as escapist entertainment. M.N. Miller's review for Ready Steady Cut articulated complaints shared by multiple critics, focusing on what he described as frequent tone shifts, lack of focus, and cheesy dialogue. The review rated the film 2.5 out of 5 stars, suggesting that while director Domingo Gond les generated genuine heat and chemistry between the leads, the overall execution suffered from trying to incorporate too many different genre elements without successfully integrating them into a cohesive whole. Dennis Schwartz's review offered the somewhat dismissive headline, "If this is your kind of teen rom-com, it's not my fault," suggesting that the film might appeal to specific tastes but failed to transcend its genre limitations or offer anything substantial beyond superficial entertainment. This perspective reflected a common critical attitude that dismissed My Fault as formulaic genre content without artistic merit. Critics frequently highlighted specific issues including the normalization and romanticization of the step-sibling relationship at the film's center, which many reviewers found problematic regardless of the lack of biological relation between the characters. The taboo nature of this relationship and its treatment in the narrative drew substantial critical concern. The screenplay's tonal inconsistency, attempting to blend teen romance, family drama, action thriller, and melodrama without successfully balancing these elements. Critics noted jarring shifts between romantic scenes, action sequences, and dramatic revelations that felt disconnected rather than integrated. Character development that critics described as shallow, with protagonists who seemed to exist primarily to fulfill genre requirements rather than exhibiting believable psychological complexity. The supporting characters received even less attention, with critics noting they served primarily functional roles in moving the plot forward. Dialogue that many reviewers characterized as wooden, cliché-copyrighty, or simply poorly written, failing to sound like authentic human conversation or reveal genuine character depth. Plot developments and dramatic turns that critics found predictable and derivative, drawing too heavily on established genre conventions without offering fresh perspectives or surprising narrative developments. However, the audience response told a dramatically different story. On Rotten Tomatoes, while the critics' score sat at 0%, the audience score reached 86%. Indicating that general viewers overwhelmingly enjoyed the film. This 86-point gap between critic and audience scores represents one of the largest such divides on the platform. Later, as more audience reviews accumulated, this score settled around 83%, still indicating strong positive response from general viewers. Audience reviews highlighted different priorities and perspectives than professional critics. Many viewers praised the chemistry between Nicole Wallace and Gabriel Guevara, which audiences found compelling and believable despite the problematic nature of their characters' relationship. Viewers responding positively to the film consistently highlighted the lead's performances and screen presence. The entertainment value and emotional engagement of the story, with many audience members noting they found themselves invested in Noah and Nick's relationship despite recognizing its fictional and heightened nature. The production values, including the beautiful Costa del Sol locations, attractive cast, and quality cinematography that gave the film a polished, professional appearance. The faithful adaptation of the source material for fans of Mercedes Ron's original Wattpad story, who appreciated seeing characters and scenes they had imagined while reading brought to life on screen. The combination of romance and action elements, with many viewers enjoying the street racing and underground fighting sequences as adding excitement to the romantic storyline. User reviews frequently acknowledge the film's flaws while maintaining that it succeeded as entertaining escapist viewing. Comments like "It's not perfect, but it manages to deliver entertainment and it's addictive, dramatic, and full of intense moments" captured a common audience perspective that the film delivered what it promised: an engaging, passionate romantic drama that provided emotional escapism even if it didn't achieve artistic sophistication. The critical versus audience divide around My Fault reflects broader tensions in contemporary film culture. Professional critics apply standards rooted in film history, narrative craft, character development, thematic depth, and artistic achievement. They evaluate films against the medium's possibilities and precedents. General audiences, particularly younger viewers who represent the target demographic for content like My Fault, often prioritize different values including entertainment, emotional engagement, wish fulfillment, and characters they find attractive and appealing. The film's Wattpad origins may have contributed to critical dismissal. Stories from digital fiction platforms often feature heightened emotions, melodramatic plotting, and romantic intensity that translates popular online reading experiences but may appear excessive or simplistic when adapted to film and evaluated by traditional critical standards. Critics trained in evaluating theatrical cinema may apply inappropriate frameworks to content specifically designed for streaming audiences seeking particular types of escapist entertainment. The commercial success despite critical rejection validated Amazon's investment strategy. The film's popularity demonstrated that for streaming platforms, audience engagement matters more than critical approval. While positive critical response can benefit theatrical releases through word of mouth and awards consideration, streaming content succeeds primarily through viewer hours and subscriber satisfaction, metrics where My Fault excelled regardless of critical opinion. The success of My Fault ultimately prompted discussions within the film industry about the relevance of traditional film criticism to streaming content, the disconnect between critical and popular taste, and whether films adapted from digital fiction platforms should be evaluated using different frameworks than traditional cinema. These debates continue as streaming services produce increasingly large volumes of content designed for specific audience segments rather than broad critical acclaim. The film's reception also sparked extensive discussion on social media, where viewers debated the film's problematic elements, questioned whether critics were being unfair, and engaged with the story's themes. This conversation extended the film's cultural presence beyond the viewing experience itself, turning My Fault into a phenomenon that transcended its actual runtime and artistic quality to become a significant cultural moment in Spanish and international streaming. Prime Video has revealed its top traveling non-English local originals in the history of the service, with Spanish romance My Fault and French crime thriller Medellin topping the list. Both are feature films that launched in the last 2 weeks across Prime Video's footprint in 240 countries around the world. Interestingly, both titles have more than 75% of their viewership coming from outside their country of origin, Spain for My Fault, and France for Medellin, though Prime Video hasn't disclosed any further metrics related to ratings or impressions. Of the list, available in full below, 60% are movies and 40% are TV series. While it makes sense for local originals like Prime Video's unscripted format LOL to perform well in their home countries, big local stars and very local comediados don't really travel beyond their borders, explains James Farrell, VP of International Originals for Amazon Studios. The reason the streamer is highlighting this crop of non-English originals is because they're the first to penetrate internationally. These are the biggest two we've ever had to break borders and just travel the whole world, Farrell tells Variety. This is a step change that we've seen. And when we went back and looked at the last 12 months, There's 8 different countries represented among the titles that are traveling the world. Directed by Domingo Gonzalez, My Fault, Culpa Mía, launched on June 8 and is based on Mercedes Ron's best-selling Culpables book trilogy, about a headstrong girl, Noah, who's forced into a different world when her mother moves the family into her wealthy boyfriend's mansion. There, Noah falls in love with her rebellious stepbrother and the pair have a forbidden affair. The film was the #1 movie worldwide on Prime Video during its opening weekend. Kelly Day, VP of International for Prime Video, says the service hopes My Fault will serve as adjacent programming for hit US original series The Summer I Turned Pretty, an adaptation of Jenny Han's summer trilogy that was a surprise sensation for the streamer last year. We are very focused on the A cohort and we're really trying to reach more young audiences, Day tells Variety. We've got a pretty well established track record in big action, adventure and sci-fi that's frankly slightly more male skewing and milder targeted content. But last year we had a pretty big hit with The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is coming back. So it's great now to see some success in really appealing to that young female demographic with a non-U.S. title. We're really thinking about how to cross-promote and cross-market between all of these different titles regardless of the country of origin. Elsewhere, France's Medellin, which includes Mike Tyson among its cast, launched on June 2. The story, by Frank Gastambide and Charles Van Thigem, follows Pablito, a young YouTuber fascinated by Pablo Escobar, who flies to Medellin, Colombia, to walk in the notorious drug lord's footsteps. But when Pablito is kidnapped by a group of narcos, it falls to his big brother to assemble a rescue mission and go head-to-head with the drug cartel. Prime Video's top 10 globally most watched non-English language original movies and series based on performance outside of their country of origin are below, with rankings based on opening 3-day viewing figures. My Fault, Culpa Mía, movie, Spain, June 2023. Sayan, movie, Chile, March 2023. A Private Affair, Un Asunto Privado, TV series, Spain, September 2022. The Griffin, Der Grief, TV series, Germany, May 2023. Overdose, movie, France, November, 2022. The Head of Joaquin Mérida, La Cabeza de Joaquin Mérida, TV series, Mexico, February 2023. Fakes, Farsi, TV series, India, February 2023. Gangs of Lagos, movie, Nigeria, April 2023. Argentina 1985, movie, Argentina, October 2022. Read on for Variety's interview with James Farrell, VP of International Originals at Amazon Studios, and Kelly Day, VP of International for Prime Video. How are you positioning these international originals alongside the US tentpoles you have on the service? What's the priority? Day. Prime Video has had a history of taking big US originals, let's be honest, and pushing them out internationally, so they get dubbed and subtitled and localized and pushed out around the world. And, we've seen those work. So, when we create a show like Citadel or Lord of the Rings or something, yes, we tend to get big viewership from all of our international territories. What we've really tried to do in the last year and a half, though, is focus a lot more on how we get the shows and movies that are produced outside of the US to travel better, both back into the US but as well as to other regions. So we have a program that we stood up a little over a year ago where we really focus on getting titles to travel, and we appointed a dedicated leader for that. Over the last year, she's been very focused on not only identifying which titles we think are most likely to travel, but then working with the product teams on getting them to surface better naturally within the carousels on Prime Video so that they do naturally pop up on the homepage if we think you're likely to want to watch them. We're also working with the marketing teams globally to be able to really support those titles in a way that is similar and commensurate with what we have coming out of the US. Are there certain genres that are standing out? Action, espionage and romance seem to do well for you guys. Farrell, that's right. You name the genres right there. And I think it's also a little bit about diasporas, kind of getting the flywheel going. So just sticking with the UK as an example, the UK has got a decent sized population from India and Nigeria. So when that population starts to watch Farsi or Gangs of Lagos, it starts to spread a little bit. The French action movies on that list, Medellin and Overdose, are really well produced action movies. So that does travel around the world. But then it's also those diasporas. We're finding ways to activate them. Will there be more of a focus on international programming for you going forward, given the ongoing writers' strike and the possibility of a strike by SAG-AFTRA next month? Farrell, I wouldn't say there was some meeting where we said, alright, now we've got to do things differently. I think we like our plan internationally. And what titles like My Fault and Medellin have shown us is that if we make good titles, and we get them in front of customers, they will fill important programming needs. So, you know what, if there are some months in the future, 6, 12 or 18 months in the future that are somehow impacted in the programming schedule by the US writers' strike, hey, we got some good content from around the world and we can use it to fill in those holes and keep customers happy. James, at Series Mania this year, you spoke about the growing flexibility when it comes to sharing rights internationally. Can you talk about how that opens things up creatively as you try to source these global originals? Farrell, well, it does open up things creatively, marketing-wise, product-wise everywhere. Because before, if we were taking all rights, some things wouldn't been available to us. A star or a writer would say, you know what, I really want this to go to theatrical first, and then we'd be saying, no, it has to go on streaming first, and maybe that wouldn't work. Or if a company had a tight relationship with a broadcaster, and they said, it's really important to us that we keep broadcast rights for the whole country for a second window or even a first window. Before, we'd have said that maybe that's tough for us. But now when we show the flexibility, suddenly new ideas that are really good ideas that we think can't travel, emerge. We're also flexible, and we say, you know what, it's not the end of the world if we premiere a title and someone else goes 6-12 months after us. Or if somebody has a really important country that they want to hold the rights to and they're going to help out on some of the budget, that's just pragmatic, good business. So it has really helped with stuff coming in, and the conversations with producers and everybody. So we're definitely going to stick with that. I wanted to ask about Citadel as well. At BAMF last week, your head of drama series said that you're waiting for the show to grow its audience domestically. How closely are you working with the US team as you prepare the international spin-offs in Italy and India? Farrell, I don't think anybody's attempted this before in different languages, and different countries. Of course you've got the Marvel Universe and Star Wars and all that. But this is its own unique thing. We started with the concept in the US, with the idea that we're going to have all these people around the world, interconnected. And then it was like, who do we really trust? Who are some great producers that can really add value to this franchise? And Liya in Italy, and Raj DK in India, they're the best in the business. So, we went to them and said, hey, how do we work in stories from your countries? I don't think we've announced what the stories are. By the way, they're wonderful, but we play with timelines, so you're slightly in the future and slightly in the past characters crossover. But you're right, that was not easy. It's not like there was a book and you can just go back to chapter 2. It's all original ideas, which require a lot of meetings. We had a big summit in LA with all the people, all the different countries, throwing ideas and saying, how are we going to plant Easter eggs from this show to this show? What characters do we want to have crossover? What's the right degree of complexity? Because you want the show to stand on its own. If somebody only watches the show in India, you want them to be happy. But you also want that super fan to see how the two intersect, and you need to do both. The Russo brothers have been involved in all of the different iterations as well. When you see the Italian spin-off or the Indian spin-off, it should film no different in terms of quality and production values between what we saw in the US series and what we see in the international versions. It really is intended to be this incredible weaving of these global stories together, and I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised. I'm almost sure My Fault will be a giant hit among Gen Z, but the frequent tone shifts, lack of focus, and cheesy, Velveeta-like dialogue are too much for the likable young leads to overcome in such an overblown, Soapy picture. I thought I was your only sister. As the lead characters kiss, one holds a finger to the other's lips and says, "You are my stepsister, and you are 17. Then comes the reply, "Then kiss me until I'm 18. No, this isn't any frat boy's fantasy or film from the 70s shown in theaters populated by dirty old men in trench coats. No, this is My Fault, a steamy young adult 2023 romance film that embraces its over-the-top absurdity with the worst case of attention deficit disorder I've ever seen. At least, this Spanish streaming film never pretends to be anything it's not, which is saying a lot nowadays. My Fault, 2023, review and plot summary. Noah, Nicole Wallace, isn't happy at the moment. Her mother, Rafaela Martejasas, has married a dashing billionaire, Will, if a tilde inverted exclamation mark in s a tilde inverted exclamation mark in kes, and they move to a beautiful seaside town. The new union has forced Noah away from her boyfriend and best friend. 17 and going into her last year of high school, Noah is an independent, proud, and brilliant spitfire who doesn't need anyone. That's when she meets Nick, Gabriel Guevara, Will's bad boy son, who's Noah's new stepbrother. A young man with a penchant for partying, gambling, fighting, and racing fast cars with any woman willing to hold on for dear life in the passenger seat. Soon, Noah must navigate the friction tension with Nick, a stalker leaving her notes with nasty little threatening sonnets, and a coked-out local gangster she beats like a badass in a race that would make James Dean blush. That's the carrot, and there are many carrots because the adaptation of the first entry into Mercedes Ron's best-selling Culpables trilogy, Culpa Mía, doesn't have a stick. Ron adapted his work with the help of Domingo Gonz a tilde inverted exclamation mark les, making his directorial debut, and he has never met a genre cliché tilde copyright he didn't like. The film changes direction faster than the characters taking their sharp drifts. Starting as a rom-com, it shifts gears into an underground martial arts movie, and then into a badass street racing action picture. There are also snippets of psychological stalker tribute. Say I half expected a Patrick Bergin cameo of Sleeping with the Enemy fame, then settling into a steamy romance when My Fault needs a break from its cinematic dissociative identity disorder. Is My Fault worth watching? And I hate to admit it, I cannot argue that My Fault isn't at least entertaining and doesn't pretend to be anything it's not. The problem is that it's laughable. I found myself chuckling openly at the sheer audacity of the scenes and dialogue. From the killer over-the-top ending to Nick telling Noah she deserves the antonym of Inuit kisses by telling her she needs fire volcanoes on your mouth, it's bad in a mindless way for the fans it was made for. If anything, My Fault is worth watching for the charismatic leads that burn up the screen. It's almost refreshing to see a film that doesn't shy away from and embraces sexuality, particularly in young people, a significant part of most human culture. Wallace and Guevara have incredible chemistry that is palpable. This fact alone will keep the viewer engaged. However, the film is strictly made for fans of young adult romance. While Gonz a tilde inverted exclamation mark les ramps up a significant amount of heat here, the frequent tone shifts, lack of focus, and cheesy, Velveeta-like dialogue are too much for the likable young leads to overcome in such an overblown, soapy picture. Where was My Fault filmed? Porto de la Juquesa. Porto de la Juquesa can be seen toward the end of the film, where the car chase takes place and the 2060 maneuver happens. It is the most identifiable location in the film and is a picturesque port town in Costa del Sol, located in the province of Malaga, close to Gibraltar. It attracts both tourists and sailors alike to its port and quiet beaches, with cozy hotels and restaurants. Cabo Pino, a quiet marina town situated between Marbella and Benalmádén, only a 20-minute drive from Marbella, a city that is famous for its lively nightclubs, pristine beaches, world-class museums and art galleries, and beautiful architecture. The beach itself is a natural monument, as it's found within the dunas de Ardila Nature Preserve. Nueva Andayuga, the largest neighborhood in the Marbella district, Nueva Andayuga is home to around 18,000 people, but this number increases considerably during the summer. It is where several villas designed in the traditional Andalusian architecture reside, along with magnificent boutiques and sophisticated restaurants. The neighborhood also has a long-running Saturday market selling second-hand items, which is one of the largest in the Costa del Sol region. Palomar Beach Torremolinos. Finally, there's Palomar Beach in Torremolinos. This beach is known for its water sports and volleyball activities. Palomar Beach is just one out of many in Torremolinos, with others being El Bajandalo and La Carla. Torremolinos itself is a resort town known for its huge amount of entertainment activities available to tourists and inhabitants. What did you think of the 2023 film My Fault? Comment below. My Fault is a roller coaster of teen drama and forbidden love that keeps you hooked from start to finish. The story follows Noah, who moves into a mansion with her mom's new rich husband and meets her new stepbrother, Nick. From illegal car races to underground fights, Nick's life is a chaotic mess, and Noah can't help but get drawn into it. The chemistry between them is intense, and their love story is full of twists and turns that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The characters in My Fault are a mix of cliché copyrights and unique personalities. Noah is a strong, independent girl with a traumatic past, while Nick is the classic bad boy with a heart of gold. Their relationship is a whirlwind of emotions, and you can't help but root for them despite the odds. The supporting characters add some depth to the story, but the focus is mainly on Noah and Nick's fiery romance. The film's visuals are stunning, and the action scenes are thrilling, making it a visually captivating experience. Overall, My Fault is a must-watch for fans of teen dramas and forbidden love stories. It's not perfect, with some cheesy dialogue and predictable plot points, but it's an entertaining ride that will leave you wanting more. If you're in the mood for a movie that's full of drama, romance, and a bit of danger, My Fault is definitely worth checking out. Based on a Wattpad story written by Mercedes Ron, Amazon Prime Video's My Fault, Culpa Mía, features a vast roster of characters played by talented actors. Set in a seaside town, My Fault follows Noah, a teenage girl whose mother marries a billionaire named William. To her dismay, her mother's decision forces her out of her comfort zone and she finds herself attending a new school in her final year. Her stepbrother Nick does not make things any better with his arrogant and cold demeanor towards her. However, when a turn of events put Noah's life in danger, and Nick comes to her rescue, the two find themselves falling for one another. In all of its romantic drama, My Fault also features high-octane car racing scenes and dips its feet into themes surrounding the dire effects of childhood trauma. Its storyline and character beats are further elevated by the performances of its cast members, including Spanish stars like Nicole Wallace, Gabriel Guevara, and Marta Hozes. Considering how its cast primarily holds its narrative together, here is a breakdown of the primary characters and the respective actors who appear in the Amazon Prime Video movie, My Fault. My Fault cast character Nicole Wallace, Noah, Gabriel Guevara, Nick, Marta Hozes, Rafael, Fran Berenguer, Ronnie, Iv A tilde inverted exclamation mark Ines A tilde inverted exclamation mark Nkes, William, Eva Ruiz, Gina, Iv A tilde inverted exclamation mark in Masagu A tilde. Copyright Padre Nicole Wallace as Noah. Actress, Spanish actress Nicole Wallace del Barrio plays Noah in My Fault. While she is best known for her performance as Nora Grace in Scamispa A tilde plus minus A, she also has other well-known roles in television shows like Brit and short films like Post Millennium. Her singing career includes singles like Bella, Devoe tilde copyright and Impatient Eyes, which were released in 2021. She went on to star in both Your Fault and Our Fault, both set with 2024 release dates. Character, Noah initially finds it hard to settle down in her new school and home after her mother marries an affluent man named William. She also despises her stepbrother Nick because he is a loose cannon and seems to do just about everything she hates in a man. However, their conflicts ultimately bring them closer and pave the way for their romance when Noah learns to empathize with Nick. With what follows, she also gets romantically involved with him. But the forbidden nature of their step-sibling relationship poses many challenges. Gabriel Guevara as Nick. Actor, in My Fault, actor Gabriel Guevara portrays Nick. Born in 2001, the 22-year-old star was a part of Scamispa A tilde plus minus A, like Nicole Wallace. In addition, he has also starred in other relatively obscure television shows such as Boss A tilde copyright, You're Nothing Special, and How to Screw It All Up. He almost lost his career in 2023 after an arrest, but was cleared of the charges and has returned to continue making movies once again. including more Culpables films. Character: Nick is William's only son in My Fault. He puts up a perfect image of himself in front of his parents but lives a second adrenaline-fueled life outside the walls of his luxurious home. He is also a part of an underground boxing club, where he tries to vent his frustrations. Noah first snags Nick's attention when she races one of My Fault's secondary antagonists and even manages to beat him. Nick learns Noah has a traumatic past that involves her abusive father, which helps him warm up to her and see her in a better light. Marta Hosses as Rafaela. Actress: Marta Hosses, best known for her breakthrough role as Amelia Gardi in the series El Internado, plays Rafaela in My Fault. She is also recognizable for briefly appearing in Spanish shows like Paco y Veva, Hospital Central, and El Comisario. While appearing in My Fault, she also had a major role in the TV series Diez Majores, where she played the character of Sarah for 18 episodes. She also showed up in Aquí la Tierra in 2023 for 1 episode. Character: in My Fault, Rafaela is Noah's mother who triggers the series of events that lead to Nick and Noah's romance after she decides to marry William. For obvious reasons, when Rafaela finds out about Noah and Nick's relationship, she is not too happy about it and even expresses her concerns to William. Little does she realize that it is already too late for her to stop her daughter from being with Noah. Fran Berenguer as Ronnie. Actor: Fran Berenguer, who has acting credits in TV shows like The Longest Night, Blowing Kisses, and Les Hombres de Paco, plays Ronnie in My Fault. While he has only been acting since 2017, Berenguer has several roles under his belt, but most of them are on television shows. Since his appearance in My Fault, he has appeared as Santos in 1 episode of Los Artistas, Primeros Trazos, and has a role in the 2024 movie Invasion, a Spanish alien invasion movie. Character: Ronnie is My Fault's secondary antagonist, who tries manipulating Noah into racing him. To his surprise, Noah not only agrees to race but also defeats him with ease. Ronnie later starts working under Noah's stalker and even attempts to kidnap her. However, he eventually gets caught working for Noah's father and, towards the end of My Fault, gets sent to prison. My Fault supporting cast characters of A tilde inverted exclamation mark in S A tilde inverted exclamation mark Inquez as William, Spanish actor and film producer of A tilde inverted exclamation mark in S A tilde inverted exclamation mark Inquez plays William, who is Nick's father, in My Fault. He works hard with his new wife to keep Noah and Nick apart, but fails in the end. Sanchez has played in the popular Spanish series Hospital Central and La Reina del Sur. He also has the main role in the upcoming La Mujer de mi Vida. Eva Ruiz as Jenna. Eva Ruiz plays the role of Jenna, one of Noah's friends in My Fault. This is Ruiz's only role to date, as she does not have any other credits before My Fault and has no known movies or TV shows lined up since her appearance in this film. If A tilde inverted exclamation mark in Masagu A tilde copyright is Padre, if A tilde inverted exclamation mark in Masagu A tilde copyright portrays Noah's abusive father, Padre, in My Fault. The actor is best known for playing the lead role in Netflix's thought-provoking horror movie The Platform. He also played the role of Haro in the Prime Video movie Pert and has several TV roles in Spain, including Cuatro, Antna 3, and Neox. Adriana Ubani. My Fault 2023 Anna Stripe black leather jacket specification, material, genuine, real leather internal, viscose lining front, zipper closure collar, erect collar color, black pockets, 2 at the front and 1 inside sleeves, full-length sleeves with new details starting to surface, including first look images. Here's everything we know so far about the highly anticipated follow-up. A Your Fault, London release date. Your Fault, London finished filming in summer 2025. It is scheduled for a worldwide release in 2026. A Your Fault, London first look images. British actors Sasha Banks, Good Girls Guide to Murder, and Matthew Broome, The Buccaneers, will reprise their lead roles as Noah and Nick in Your Fault, London. Prime Video has also added newcomer stars Louisa Binder, Joel Nankervis, Scarlett Rayner, and Orlando Norman to the ensemble. Binder will play Sophia, a beautiful and ambitious young woman who sets her sights on Nick when she starts working at Leicester Enterprises, and Nankervis will play Michael, a confident and patient Oxford student who forms an immediate friendship with Noah while secretly wanting more. Reiner will play Briar, a seemingly kind but secretly manipulative master strategist who befriends Noah at Oxford with hidden motives, while Norman will play Cruz, Ronnie's right-hand man in the underground racing world. Is it Your Fault, London based on a book? Yes. Your Fault, London is the next installment of the British reimagining of author Mercedes Ron's best-selling Culpable trilogy. My Fault, London, which debuted on Prime Video in February 2025, reimagined the Spanish hit Culpa Mía, the first adaptation of Ron's popular book series. The original Spanish version became Prime Video's global #1 film in 2023, with its sequel, Culpa Mía, following in December 2024. What is Your Fault, London about? The film series follows the forbidden romance between 18-year-old Noah and her stepbrother Nick. In Your Fault, London, Nick and Noah are both embarking on life-changing adventures that are threatening to pull them apart. Nick in business with his father and Noah starting a fresh chapter at Oxford University. Now living separate lives, and meeting new people, they find themselves entangled in temptations, rivalries, and betrayals, and their bond is tested like never before. As secrets unravel and temptation rises, they must fight to hold on to each other or risk losing everything. Will there be a third movie? The two upcoming UK original movies will focus on the stories of the second and third book. How can I watch My Fault, London? The first movie in the series, My Fault, London, is available to watch now on Prime Video as part of the Prime subscription. Prime Video is available in the UK at no extra cost to a Prime membership for just £8.99 a month. If you're only interested in Prime Video, you can sign up to it on its own for £5.99 a month. Noah must leave her city, boyfriend, and friends to move into William Leicester's mansion, the flashy and wealthy husband of her mother Rafaela. As a proud and independent 17-year-old, Noah resists living in a mansion surrounded by luxury. However, it is there where she meets Nick, her new stepbrother, and the clash of their strong personalities becomes evident from the very beginning. Reviewers say Culpa Mía delves into forbidden love, family dynamics, and teenage rebellion, set against wealth and privilege. Praised for lead chemistry, action sequences, and romance, it faces criticism for cliché copyright-ess, unrealistic plot points, and exaggerated characters. Some find it entertaining and a good time pass, while others call it poorly constructed and cringeworthy. The film's portrayal of taboo relationships and its comparison to franchises like After sparked debate. Culpa Mía, Culpa Nuestra, My Fault, London, Through My Window, After, Through My Window, Across the Sea, Through My Window, Looking at You, Purple Hearts, After We Collided, After Ever, Happy, Maxton Hall, The World Between Us.